Good afternoon. I will try to get my voice over your alls and corral us here if that's possible as we have a working lunch. We have obviously a very aggressive agenda all day, but I want to thank our last panelists. A lot of them I've met as I've traveled the country, and when they get up and present their work, I mean, to me it's uplifting. And I spent 4 days in area El Ahec in that part of North Carolina. And I can tell you that when you go out and you see the work being done at the ground level, that it's inspiring. And so I appreciate you guys very much, and I appreciate the kind words. During lunchtime, we've got two speakers. One of them I've just met. One of them, Regina, I've known for a while, and I get to pleasure to introduce them both. The first speaker today at lunch is Ty Lamb. And I just met Ty and his business partner, Randy. They're California boys, and you would pick that out really, really quick if you talk to them for about 5 minutes. And I loved both of them. Randy was actually the topic of our conversation last night, pretty much most of the night. Just delightful. And when you meet people like this, you start to look at people who are on the cutting edge with innovation. And I'm actually not. I'm a pencil and paper guy, but Ty and Randy for certainly are. So how I want to lead into what Ty is going to talk to us about. Ty's the CEO, COO, and at GATC Health, and what I'm hoping he's going to do. I read his presentation like that, so I kind of have a little bit of an idea. But when I talked about medication earlier, I talked about two drugs that are controversial: buprenorphine and methadone. And the reason that those drugs are controversial is because they're both opioids. And so you can have illicit use. They have a street value. It can be diverted. And one of our big obstacles of getting widespread use has actually been law enforcement. And I understand that. And we can't marginalize law enforcement. They have legitimate concerns and needs, and they have a job to do as well. So we have to keep them at the table. But if I let my mind wander a little bit, and I know that cravings are what drives abusive medication, abusive illicit substance. If I know that cravings do that, and all of you, if you don't believe me, you're all victim of it right now. Everybody in the room's relapsing as I'm talking, right? Because you had cravings right before you walked in here. It was time to eat. You had cues all around you. You had hunger pangs in your stomach, and it was telling you it's time to eat. Okay, that's what was happening to all of you as you walked up here, like what bugs to a blue light. And so the reason for that is that your body knows the last time you had this feeling. It knows what you did to alleviate that feeling. And you know that here in a few minutes, all those things are going to be gone. Your low blood sugar is going to be gone. The hunger pangs are going to be gone. And the reason for that is you need to eat and drink so that you can live to be reproductive age, reproduce, and our species goes forward in time, right? That's how our brain works. That's the reward system of our brain. And that's what everybody gets that. Everybody right now gets that. Now, your cravings you were having for that food, when you start to think about drug addiction, I want you to remember this. Somebody's craving for their drug is 10 times stronger than your cravings are for that food you're eating right now. So the next time that you say, oh, you just need to put it down. Can somebody just put it down? Yeah, every once in a while. It's pretty rare. But you're asking them to basically stop eating, only it's going to be about 10 times harder. And when I started to understand that, I started to get a feel for just how tough this can be. So I say that as lead into what Ty's going to talk about, because what if there was a novel drug out there that through technology and artificial intelligence and mapping of the human genome, that we could figure out a drug target, and the drug target, the drug itself and the target did not involve a controlled substance. Is that possible? And so when I met Ty and Randy, that's immediately where my mind went to, because think of what that would do. It would bring law enforcement to the table even more than we've ever had, because their concern is diversion, and it's a legitimate one. It would take diverted drugs off of the street because it wouldn't have a street value. So when I met Ty and Randy, this is where my mind went to, and what they bring to the table and what the possibilities are with that. Just the one tidbit about Ty that I absolutely love. Ty is responsible for bringing treatment to Native American reservations. And it's something we haven't talked about today, and it is a gaping hole in our program today. And that is addressing access to treatment for people of color. If you look at good old American white boys, okay, it's about 1 in 10 of us that get help. When we start looking at people of color, either Latinos, Native Americans, or African Americans, that number is about 1 in 20 to a 1 in 30 at best. And it's something that I think that we need to address in future conferences. So with that said, I'll give you my friend Tyrone.
Thank you for taking time to still eat and dual task and hear what we have to say this morning. So thank you for that introduction. And I agree, the Native American community is underserved and highly at risk in this area. So a whole nother topic, probably for another conference someday. So I only have 5 slides. So it's mostly so hopefully enough information to give you enough information if you want to pull us aside afterwards and get to know a little bit more about what we're doing. So what we've heard about so far today are some amazing things that you guys are doing. What this little section of the conference is about is talking about what tools are under development that can help you in your toolbox to treat addiction. So as Dr. Lloyd said, we have, and I'm talking about how we got there, but we've actually discovered which is in preclinical trials and animal trials at UC Irvine right now. We believe we discovered a novel set of compounds that can get to the core of addiction, specifically opioid addiction. I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. So, and I just realized that I can see the screen. Good. Okay, so basically three things. One is we have discovered this new treatment for opioid addiction. We believe we've even uncovered the core of addiction, and we can talk a little bit about that as far as inflammation and rewiring the brain. So how did we do that? And how did we do it in less than 6 months? That's the amazing part. So over the last 8 years, our company has had a technology that is an AI platform. And as you know, AI has become kind of a quote of an all-encompassing term. We use machine learning, neural networking, computer modeling of diseases. We basically, on our platform, have modeled every human pathway, every biological pathway of the body that is known. And based on the way the platform is designed, we can actually uncover non-obvious pathways and non-obvious biological reactions in the body to new compounds and to diseases and how those can interact or not interact or even interact with other functions of the body. So here's what I love about what our company does. When I always think, okay, 20 years from now, how will people discover drugs differently? It's not going to be new animal trials, which, by the way, in November of last year, the FDA has said we no longer have to have animal trials because they're finding that AI technology such as ours is actually circumventing the need for the cruelty to animals, but also where animals are not human, is that if we had technology that could say, I can actually predict what a human FDA trial will look like in different profiles of people, why can't I do that on a computer? I mean, it just makes perfect sense, right? So that's what we've done. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So why are we here? One is to tell you about what we're doing, hopefully get you excited about what we're doing. We're here for a reason too. Our company discovers new drugs. We don't get them into IND. We don't get them into FDA clinical trials. We want to find partners. And with the opioid abatement supplement here, there's at least my understanding is a recommended allocation, a small portion towards R&D. We would like to talk to you about that and some of the other opportunities with clinical trials and data sharing. Okay, great. So a little bit about our platform. So how did we discover this new drug? So a couple of data points about this. I'm not an engineer. If anyone is an AI engineer, we'd love to get you connected with our folks. So as I said, it models true human physiology, which is really important because we don't have a prediction of how anything's going to happen and we're trying to confirm it. We don't know. We're going to take whatever those compounds are or even what the disease is, and we're going to discover new compounds that are going to target that disease at multiple points. At the cause of the disease. So as far as the processing power of our technology, we ran a test, an internal test. We had 2,500 whole exomes, basically whole genomes, and that's about 400 trillion data points. We ran that in 7 minutes. We're actually faster than that. We're continuously speeding it. So the processing power of our platform is sufficient to handle not only the genomic information, but all the other omic information, proteomic, epigenomic, other information of the body. So we're getting a fuller picture of the body on the platform. So then we ran another test, which was if there were known outcomes of how certain compounds would affect or not affect certain diseases, could we actually predict blindly how those would work based on real world data? And we have this about 170-page document, happy to share it with any scientists or medical professionals that would like to get into it. We did a triple blind study. We took about 2,500 in the neurological space, neurological diseases. And then we took all of the known and unknown compounds that could or may not affect those diseases. Now, to give you some background is that if a drug is in preclinical and goes through the clinical trials, it's a couple of $1 billion, average of 10 years, 96, 98, depending percent fail. So you have literally very small percentage, best case about 8% of those drugs actually get it to market. And unfortunately, if they're 50, 60% efficacious, that's a home run. Okay. So we actually ran a triple blind study and we actually predicted with 88% accuracy if that drug was going to succeed. And as importantly, 84% accuracy that drug was going to fail. So just think about that. That's 10, 11 times greater than the current process of discovering and validating drugs. And this is the power of what AI can do. We still are going to need human trials, but now we're going in with eyes wide open. We can do patient selection more safely. We know as far as other conditions that need to be looked at as far as patient selection in the cohort. So this is another exciting benefit of it. So what does that mean as far as speed? So again, we still have to go through the clinical trials, but we can now develop drugs in 3 to 6 months versus what takes 2 to 3 years in the preclinical phase. And we have proof of that today because we have drugs in preclinical trial. We have drugs that have successfully gone through in vitro and now are in animal trials, and the results far exceed what we had expected as far as what the AI can produce. So let's talk a little bit now. Let's get right to the end result here about the drug the drug we've discovered, this drug candidate. So these are the high level criteria, and Dr. Lloyd talked about this kind of this rewiring of the brain. So as most of you know here, that one of the most unfortunate things about opioids is it rewires the brain. So what our AI did, and what we've actually confirmed through the in vitro studies, is that our drug, at least at this point, is confirmed that it can rewire the brain. So actually reducing inflammation of the brain, rewiring and restructuring the limbic system of the brain. It's compatible with other detox drugs that are out there, and it's safe. It's not addictive. We believe, based on the data we have so far, it's not only for, in our case, we're testing fentanyl, which is probably the most difficult one, and that's why we took that, but the group of opioids, but we believe we've actually uncovered the root cause of addiction. So as far as nicotine addiction and even broader, the pathways that we've discovered for this drug are very, very similar, probably not a surprise to people in this room, to PTSD and to anxiety. So we believe there's a broader case here, opportunity based on what the platform has discovered and what we're confirming in trials. So as I said, what we have right now is fentanyl specifically is the lead candidate that we're working with, an abatement drug for fentanyl addiction. And that has, so the process is the AI basically models that disease of fentanyl addiction. And then we developed a very small set of compounds. In our case, we had about 80 that we dwindled down to 3 compounds. Again, to give you an idea, is traditional medicine comes up with literally tens of thousands of compounds that take years to go into a lab, and they're literally manually trying to figure out which ones work and don't work. Even some of the other competitors in their AI space are getting it into the hundreds, 500, 600 is the low amount. Still takes years to get through it. So we were able to come up with a very small set of high quality candidates, and we actually hit 3 causal targets in the body for addiction. Typically, you get 1 and you call it a day, and that's why they're 50%, 60% efficacious. We actually hit 3 targets for this addiction. So we're very excited about the benefits of this. The in vitro studies we did with Eurofin were highly successful. That led us into the animal trials that are on with fentanyl with UCI Irvine right now, and those are expected to be finished second quarter. So we believe our publications will be coming out at the end of second quarter, beginning of third quarter. But again, if someone's interested in supporting us with what we're doing, we can share that data earlier. The other part is everything we're doing is IND enabling. So if there's a company who would like to actually take this drug and help accelerate this so we can get this in the hand of the treatment professionals, we're preparing everything for IND. So we're not going to just hand it over and say, go for it. We're going to help you get to the IND process. So last slide. So again, here's my ask. So we're a relatively small company. We're an AI technology company. Yes, we have scientists. Yes, we have doctors, but we're a small team. And our focus is to do what we do best, take data, discover really novel, safe and effective new potential drug candidates, and then find partners to take those out to the market. We're open to anything, not for profits, all types of partnerships. But here's a few that we've listed here. So one is we know that settlement abatement, as I said before, there's a small percentage that has been recommending allocating to R&D. We would love to talk to you about that. And we'll make it worth your while, however that works. We want to get this out to market. Research collaboration. So we're working with UCI Irvine right now. Think about your local universities that are involved in neurology or addiction science. We would love to partner with you to co-publish some research. We would love that. Clinical trials. We're not going to be in the clinical trials, but hey, I grew up in Southwest Virginia, so I know that right in this corridor of the Appalachian Mountains is ground zero for clinical trial participants. So if you have universities, if you have large hospital systems that would want to participate, we'd like to talk to you about that now. Data sharing. So we've had, there's one particular state, they have a lot of state-run addiction facilities, and she said she would be very open to helping us with patient care data. So if there's data that you can help us share with, again, we can help co-publish and develop research around that. More data, the better, obviously. Predictive health reports. I could give a whole nother presentation on that, but the company was founded on taking genetic and other omic information and giving each individual insight into their health risks. Not only that, what drugs and medications can you take or should you not take, particular to your genetic and epigenetic makeup that are going to help you. So we can actually do these predictive health reports to help you with your abatement strategy if you're trying to figure out a before, during, and after analysis of your patients in terms of efficacy, validation, certification of the things you're doing in your municipality. Commercial partnerships. If you have some large, medium, small pharma companies that are in your state, love to talk to them. Maybe they have interest in this area. And kind of wrap up, as I said before already, there's my understanding in the abatement legislation or the abatement guidelines is a verification or validation that the money you're spending is actually having a positive outcome. We can help across the whole scope. So think of this, if we were a partner that would help give you an idea of how the human biology or physiology is being affected by what you're doing in your state, we can help you do that as well. So I just leave you with this is we're here for a reason. I think everyone in the room has someone who's been touched with addiction, and God bless everybody here for what you're doing. We want to give you a new tool in your toolbox that's going to help you be more effective with your addiction practices and treatment. So thank you very much.